Hi everyone. Here we are, Jim in Sedona, and I'm in Uruguay. And this is our kind of startup for the new cycle of storytelling. Um, we are again planting the seed for everyone to nurture with your stories. We plan to meet every Thursday, every Tuesday, and share stories, our stories, but also stories from other cultures, from our ancestors. We want to bring all the legacy of human race of human beings to kind of integrate it in our lives and continue to connect with our wisdom from our past generations in forward. So the idea is that, yeah, you can join us on our lives here on Zoom, and later we're going to have lives on Facebook, but you can also share a story written in the group, um, or a story from the past as well. Jim, do you want to share something?
Sure. Thanks, Veronica. I'm just feeling into that as Veronica is speaking. And yes, this is a perfect time to be sharing stories. We did this last minute because we thought we'd get one up and see what was going on. Um, Sharing our stories across cultures, across what's going on in nature around us now. I mean, all those things. The healing that needs to happen, I think, can be incredibly powerful. Um, So we invite you, we welcome you. Those who are in our storytelling group and anyone else too, join in. If you want to have a time that you share a story, we'll work with you to set a time up and provide the platform. Or you can come on with us when time allows and share a story, and we'll just take it from there. We'll see where it goes. Let it blow in the wind.
Yeah, we believe like storytelling was like the old-fashioned way of learning. How we pass our wisdom, our learnings, our experiences from the grandparents to the children, and like this in different cultures. And now we are so segregated. Now kids are there, elders are there, youth is there, and everybody is segregated. So the idea is to come bring everything together, kind of all the wisdoms together and from the past, and merge and learn from each other, like create like this space for like a wisdom library of stories. uh, they're going to be recorded always in the Facebook group, so as well as you can come to the live, you can also see later, and you can show it to the children, or you can like listen together, and maybe the kids want to share something. The idea is to really have a place of gathering around the stories. And yeah, I think it's important now as well, because we are going so fast. Life is going so fast, and sometimes we are on the surface, and under the surface of there's an ocean of wisdom from this humanity we are part of, and this world, this planet. Stories about our relationships with other beings, with the planet, with nature in itself, as what we are. No, it's like yeah, the human journey. I mean, we have been on this earth for like 4 million years, is it, or 4 billion? I don't remember now. For so long, and it's so important to keep in be in contact with what has been. I think it's a very humble as well as a human, to bow to what we have walked through, so that we can really grow wise in the future. Like we continue our path with like wise steps connected to where we come from. Yeah, so it's yeah, this space is for that, to open, to share stories.
Yeah. We'll open the doors and allow for whatever comes in, as long as it's loosely related around what Veronica's saying. And we will keep them all. It's interesting because nonprofit that I'm part of, Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother, a lot of our members are going out there now as well and recording elders and recording nature. I'll be doing it myself with my partner the end of this week. We're heading out to go to some sacred places. So it's a great time for this, I think. And yeah, much thanks to Veronica for calling it together and saying, okay, now it's time. We've been talking about it for a while, but she made it real. And that's sometimes what we need. You know, somebody says, okay, now's the time. And we just step in.
Yeah, I think at some point synchronicity starts to happen, and then things come together, no?
Yes.
Um, yeah, I came into stories without planning it, but the stories about me learning how to write a story, but I
Ah.
actually didn't plan to do it. I joined it, and I started writing, and suddenly I wrote a story
Yeah.
that then I told it to Jim, and then Jim told me what was happening actually in October. So I was like, okay, something's going on. You know, life is connecting us, and everyone who wants to share their stories is so welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the other thing we can do, Veronica, I think, we were just talking before we came on air. In October, we're putting together a gathering of elders here in Sedona. Sedona, Arizona is a very sacred place. It's known around the world. So we're pulling that together, and that's a perfect time. We can also integrate the storytelling into that. So as they're here, we can be shooting stories out also. So this can connect in a lot of ways. If you who hear this later have ideas, please get hold of us. We're online. You'll find us, and I'll put it down in the recording how you can get hold of us. And tell us your ideas, because we want to hear them. There's no right or wrong about this.
yeah, and inform the elders, your elders around
Yes.
uh,
Hmm?
about this gathering. I think it's very needed to unite all the elders and really ground the energy of the elders. So needed, and their stories as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you're right. And we're losing too many elders right now. So it's a good time to capture those stories before they're gone. Even me, I'm not young anymore. I'm going to make sure I capture the things that I've learned the hard way so it's there. And it's really important. We shouldn't exclude anybody. If you have a good story to tell, tell it. Don't worry about your age, where you are. It doesn't matter. A good story is a good story. And Veronica, you mentioned as you were speaking, the young people. I'll be putting this up on a lot of the youth groups as well. So young folks who hear this, join. We want to hear your stories, and we want to hear what you want to hear from the elders as well. So let's make this both ends working together.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Maybe we can even plan some Tuesday that there can be a meeting between generations, and then
Yeah,
have a question and answer, like because the council when it's like intergeneration is so rich, there's so much there
it is.
to.
Yeah, we've had some good ones in the past, so we need to do that again. You're right. So there's a whole lot we can do with this. And what we're saying is, both of us, I think, here it is. We're offering. We're going to be doing our part, and we want everybody who feels so inclined to jump in with us. Nobody
Yeah.
runs it, nobody controls it. It'll be a circle.
Yeah, so nice. It feels like we lit the fire of
Yeah.
the lodge.
There's been a
Yeah,
lot of
feels
that
so
going on.
good. Yeah, it feels so good because for so long, there has been burning this need for telling stories, for reading, for like a story that resonates, and sometimes there is things that are just here, and we are like channeling it. We just bring it like like this gathering of elders. No,
Yes.
I could feel it from all the way from Uruguay. I was feeling it,
Mm,
and the same with other things. So I feel like
mm.
sometimes we feel like something we have a calling, but then we don't finish to because we don't have a place where to put it. In this case, maybe telling story, and it stays with us. but then it's like vibrating inside us. Boom, 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 boom. So I feel so happy because now it's like, this that I have been feeling pulsing inside of me. Now we found a place where it can, it can be given. It's like our gifts, our stories are our gifts, and we have a place where we
Yes.
can really share it and then listen to other people's and get inspired and learn and connect. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, me too. No, it's our stories are our gifts. I used to have elders who taught me years back, and that's exactly what they would say. Here's a gift I have for you. Here's some stories. Sit down and listen. And I did. So they are gifts. And some of them, have been hard won. Some of them have not been easy to understand. And just the fact that we're global and can be even more global, I think is really powerful. I mean, I'm sitting here in Sedona. I'm in the desert. I'm a desert rat. And Veronica's down there in Uruguay. And what are you, tropical or semi-tropical or?
Sí, es like tropical, yeah, but
Yeah.
not like warm tropical, like more.
Yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
started to be autumn and it's
Moderate. Okay. Yeah, and
yeah.
we have others. Our wonderful friend Ali N, who's in India, and she's going around and collecting stories from all the elders there. We have all these people gathering this, so let's spend a little time together and just relax and have a cup of tea and share some stories each week. It's a powerful way to go. Share our gifts. I like that. We have to use that, Veronica. We have to use that in our header. Share your gifts. Doesn't even cost anything.
Yeah, and for people who, for example, think like, where can I reach, find stories? There is a beautiful project called Avalon Project Earth, the Earth Stories Collection, which is a gathering of stories from around the world, like 2,000 stories, and they're organized by community, nature, everything. Like you can find a lot of stories. So if you want to start up with something, you maybe first don't know what to start, you can always like come and share one of those. And or you can ask your parents, or you can ask your children. You can, or you can just tell the story of yours, because all our journey is like so sacred, and we always can find something very nurturing for the community in our lives.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a great point too. You do not have to be a great storyteller. All you have to do is speak. And you know what? You find you get better at it. When I first started speaking in front of people, I was a mess because I hated it. I was afraid of it. But you start to learn, and suddenly you're just talking to friends. So don't let it stop you. Don't let it, if you don't feel you have a good story, that's a great idea. Pick a story that's out there and share that, and just say who you're sharing. And before you know
it's so beautiful because no, before you know it,
stories will start popping up all over in front of you. They're every day. You just have to learn to see them.
It's like very human, no? The pilgrimage and the storytelling, no? Like this crossing different transitions in life, and then when they do rites of passage, they have a story to tell about the experience. So it's like the whole journey of humans is like about telling stories, and so everyone learns from their own experience, so we can like grow together and then just walk in life consciously and seeing each other. So inspiring stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we sure need some inspiring stories these days. There's so much happening around us that together, all of us have to come together and work on. And sharing positive stories is a great way to do it.
So what do you think we share one each, though?
Yeah,
our own.
Okay, good.
Well, I can start how I got to come to this in a way that for me was a big journey. It all started I was living in Sweden, and I organized a festival for conscious parenting festival in Sweden. And first it was only conscious parenting, no, thinking of parents and children and like how to raise the children consciously. But then when I was in the festival, there was only one elder who came with his wife, and they were going to hold the workshops. And we were there were like 80 children, 20 teenagers, 60 adults, and only one elder. And we had this huge meeting, and the energy was like, all colors, because there was so many kids and teens, and so it was very colorful, and a lot of sounds and voices and all, like that. And then at some point, the only elder in the group held the mic and just say hello, and then suddenly like a calmness came, and I don't know how. It wasn't intended or anything, because it was a festival for children, so everything was kind of, we were all open to whatever the expressions were, but everyone was like, and sat and listened. And I was amazed. I was like, what happened? Because it was really magical. It was like, wow. And then I could feel like the power of the elderhood, like this rooting of the energy. Like, and really, it was really beautiful, because, yeah, it wasn't expected, actually. We didn't, it was more like he was going to hold the space for some dynamic, and this happened. And during this event that I noticed in myself, I felt like I incarnated my inner elder very much. I was actually taking most of the space in me. And then I realized, wow, this festival needs to be for all generations, because raising children without without like youth, not only teens, but youth and elders, is like, is very lonely. It's not natural to raise children alone in a house. It's totally unnatural. And I was very tired after, because of course I was incarnating this energy, this elder energy, but I wasn't then. I was 30 something. I was like, well, we really need like a big group of elders. So the next event we had elder circles, and it felt like much more in balance, because in the communities we need every generation is so precious and important. And thanks to that event, then I created Wise Humanity, because it was like the pandemic. So I couldn't do the event in person, and we did Wise Humanity Summit. Then I met Jim and a lot of elders, and I felt I connected with the real role also of the elders, which I didn't know, because the energy of the elders when in normal society is so pushed down, and it's like pushed away, and it's like, no, we cannot allow this to happen. No, pushing the children and the elders away. No, we bring it all together, because this like doesn't make sense at all. To push away any generation, and we get poor. It's like, so, yeah, this is how I came in contact with Jim, and with a lot of inspiring people, which I'm still very happy that I'm connecting with, and they like feel like, yeah, family. And now also I'm working in a project. All of this because of the getting in contact with this energy of an elders community in Uruguay. I'm working on it. It's gonna take some years because a lot of work to create a community, but yeah. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this experience that I had. It was very blow my mind, really. It was so, yeah, so full of love, being in that space and feeling that powerful presences. Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, what a beautiful story, and I'll try to follow up on that if I can. But first, I just want to the beauty and the power of storytelling, and Veronica talked about it. Storytelling is the oldest way. I mean, it's been there since the beginning, and a lot of cultures, not a lot, but there's still cultures that's how they still share all their information, by sharing their stories. I'm part of some of those cultures. Um, but there's a lot more benefit to it than that. As Veronica was talking, I'll embarrass my friend now. Um, I'm sure you all heard it as you listened to her words. It's also that beauty and that love and that energy that's inside of her. That's part of the story. That's the story we carry as humans. That's what we have to reconnect and connect together and do things. Like she and I came together. So many other people are coming together, and we're in circles that have formed. This is one of them. That's part of the beauty and power of this. So the story itself is instructive, sometimes entertaining, sometimes funny. But the human being telling the story is just as important, maybe more important in the long runs. So thanks, Veronica. That's a great reminder that that's going on. I guess for me, I stepped on an indigenous road a long time ago. It wasn't intentional, like Veronica was saying. I come from back east. When I was young, I grew up Catholic. I escaped that when I was about 20, and went on I was on a nothing road for some time. And then I found a spiritual road. And so that just started leading me to new doors. And it happens to this day. A couple of days ago, I was contacted by an elder up in South Dakota, who's a friend and a mentor and someone I've connected with for a while. He's actually participated in some of these programs, and I'm sure he'll jump on ours once he hears that they're going on. And I was invited to a ceremony and some teachings about 3 hours from me. So it was 2 days after that. I said, okay, I guess I have to be there. So I got in the car and I drove. I took my dogs. So I had 2 yapping, barking dogs in the back. But they told me there was a place they could be. And I got there, and there was people who'd come from about 5 states. And about half the people who showed up were indigenous and the other half were not. And we connected, and we first just sat and we're telling our stories. Well, why are you here, Jim? Well, here's what I know, and here's what I'll bring, and then the next person. And it was beautiful. We could just feel, I think you used the word family, and that's what it was, a quick family. And then decided that a sweat lodge was needed, and the person whose property it was on led a lodge. So we went into the sweat lodge. I was asked to pour, which was really nice. I appreciated it. It was great. And then after the lodge, we were sharing some more. I ended up staying the night. They had a little cabin I could sleep in. So out of nowhere came these stories. I walked away with, at least a dozen new stories. Stories that were teaching me something. Stories that just made me feel good. A couple of them just made me laugh. And what a beautiful way to spend a day and a half. And I think if we keep doing that, I know as we keep doing that, there's stories out there about the light and the dark. And the light and the dark are real evident right now. Those who are in the light, those who are in the dark. Those of us who are doing things like this, we're definitely trying to build the light. And this sort of thing can do that. Telling stories is a light approach. We don't worry about or fuss over what's going on that's negative. We worry about what's positive and what can we create. And how, like Veronica said, is how do we share this with the young people? How do we get this to the kids? Because that's the critical piece, so that the chain is not broken as we go on. And I think it just starts to happen by itself. Out of the thing I went to the other day, when we get done today, I'm going to take a shower, another one, get a hold of my partner who's out of town for a while, chat a bit, and then I'm heading up to another gathering just a couple hours from here up in Hopi Land. And I didn't know that was coming either. And I'm sure we'll share stories again. So the timing is really, really right. So just jump in and just try it. See what you think. I think you'll all be impressed. I remember the first time I sat and heard stories, I was like, wow, this is better than a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, also for the kids in the nights when you listen to stories or tell them stories, so nice because they kind of
Oh,
work
yeah.
it through dreams as well, and they get inspired. And there's always learnings in the story. So yeah, it's so nice
Boy,
to have more reference.
what a great reminder that is too. When we were kids, that's how we went to sleep. Mom or dad would sit there and tell us a story, and we wouldn't worry about the monster under the bed anymore, and we'd fall asleep comfortable. Well, we lost that. Let's get it back. We're
Let's
having a
get it
bit,
back.
yeah, we're having a bad day or a busy day, or we're in conflict with somebody else. Let's tell some stories. It
Mm.
goes, the negative goes away fast.
Yeah, it's like remembering also the stories.
Yes.
When you read a story, it's like remembering. When I read a book to my daughter, I love a book called uh, Momo from Michael Ende that is about
Mm.
how we get our time stolen. No, he makes a whole story about it. But when I'm reading, it's like, oh wow, just realized that many times I'm going too fast, and then I miss things with
Yes.
my community to meet people because I'm in many projects or something, and then it's like reminds me. It's like it's incredible, but the stories and the this or books, inspiring books, it's like it reminds us to like slow down and really go to what's important. I'm doing this doula training, end of life doula training, and the things that people when they are dying, it comes up is like the regrets. Is that the regrets and forgiveness? It's like the main thing that comes. Like, I want to forgive. I want forgiveness from this person, or I regret I didn't do. And it's like, wow, we are alive now. So, and if we need support to remember, then read stories, share time with our family, friends, community, do what we are passionate about. What do I want to do with my life? What is my gift to the world? So in this space, we can connect with that through our journey in the stories or stories that inspire us from the past or things that we want to that more people hear, because sometimes it's also that like, oh, I see this is missing in the world, so I bring a story that brings that, so then it's like, this is my gift.
Yes.
I see this, I see that, we need more of this. I feel that's also quite something. So it's like amazing, the stories, because they have so much content. I mean, it's our lives, all our
Yeah.
lives. So,
Yes.
so
Yes. And we can sit and listen to each other, and I sit and listen to you, and I'm down there with you. I'm experiencing that environment again because I've spent a lot of time in Central and South America, and you allow me to go back there again without moving, with just sitting there
mm,
and just feeling the joy and pleasure of that time. And that's, boy, what a great gift that is. You're right. It's it's hard to put a label on, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
strong.
it's like
Hmm.
also, yeah, it's like a traveling as well, like because you can read stories
Yeah.
from different cultures. It opens your mind,
Yes.
different ways of seeing. So, like maybe we have a conditioning from our culture, but then you realize that if you went to India, that belief that you have, if you were
Hmm.
born there, you wouldn't have it. So then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, the mind can change its shape depending where
Hmm.
you live. And of course, we want to belong to where we come from, but there is much more we belong to, no? That is like higher and yeah.
Boy, you're right. And the other, right now, another big thing on this is the grief that's out there. Some call it eco grief, some call it culture grief. So much is changing and shifting. And too many people, I feel, are focused on what we're losing. I think we need to be focused on what's still here and what can we work with and what can we protect and how can we connect with other humans in a better way. And by telling stories, we can learn that. We can, I was on with a couple weeks ago with a friend down in Belize, and he was down in the Jaguar Preserve, and I haven't been in there in probably 15 years. But just being there again and hearing him talk about the jaguars are all still here in this preserve is a valuable lesson that yes, things can be difficult right now, but we can overcome it. We have before and we can do it again. We just need to do it in a bigger, better way now.
Yeah. Yes, now is the time. Then it's the time.
Yeah,
It's so right.
yeah.
It's you are in the spring and here's autumn. I'm lighting the fire for the storytelling today,
Yep,
and for it's open for anyone to share.
absolutely.
Mm,
And I think what we're going to do at first is we'll do these on Tuesday morning, and then I'll put them on again Tuesday afternoon because of the time differences between our places. That'll give a couple of times, and then of course they'll be there
yeah,
for people
yeah,
to listen to at any time.
sounds good.
And people who
Yeah.
wish can go join our Storytellers Lodge is on Facebook. That's the group. Or, just look for we'll post when these things are coming up. I was thinking of, Veronica, when you were talking about, and I know you do a lot of work with people who are leaving now, moving into the spirit realm. And I've done a lot of work with people who are dying as well. And those are stories I really remember strongly. Those are the people who are no longer here. So there's that value too. I was sitting here remembering, as you said that, Chief Golden Light Eagle, who was a good friend and quite a teacher, who passed away about a year and a half ago because of the pandemic. And the story he told me just before Lodge about how when the big floods came in the past and the wolves turned back into whales and they lived in the oceans until it was all over, and then they evolved back into wolves again. And it was a wonderful story. It was like an hour and a half. Bear Cloud was holding the lodge and he was getting cranky because we were sitting there listening to the chief. But I thought, man, that's really a great story. And afterwards he just smiled and he said, go check it out. And I did research, and there's actually some fossil records. They're really argued about by the two sides, but there is some fossil records showing skeletons of wolves that then started to devolve. And yeah, so it was a story, but it was also based on some potential facts. So those things are fun too.
Look, actually, I just found a huge whale.
Oh wow, there he is, the wisdom keepers.
The wisdom keeper. A huge
Yep.
one. Yeah, the stories about the birth and death is very powerful.
Yeah.
Arrivals and departures.
Yep.
So
They really are, and there's
initiations, no?
no matter what. Well, if you just want something that's fun, you can always find plenty of stories. But if you have something that's troubling you, you can always find stories that help you with that too. And
Yeah.
we'll do our best to document as many as we can, so they're there. People can use it like a storyteller's library.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have a storyteller in library. I love that. Yeah, and also some people are shy to come in the video and read a story or tell a story. You can also send it written, put it in the.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's a good, yeah.
We can read it for you.
And
Or
we'll connect up with Aliane in India as well. She's running this sort of stuff for our nonprofit. And so we can connect with other groups doing this as well. So we can have a lot more stories than just those that we find or those that they find.
yeah,
There's so many stories out there.
awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much.
And they pop up everywhere and quickly. I think I'll just leave that as a parting shot from me. Okay, this morning, so I woke up and I wanted to get hold of my friend Amy, who's in the East right now. Before I did this, I wanted to see if she wanted to come on or if she was busy and just say good morning and whatever. And so I got hold of her and she's sending me a message. Wow, there's a woodpecker right here in the tree next to me. So beautiful, and talking. And so I thought, boy, that's really neat. And I opened the door to let my dog out, and there's a woodpecker right in front of me on the tree. So here they are. We're a couple thousand miles apart right now, but two woodpeckers right in our vision in the
Oh.
same time. And so those are nice stories, because then it's like, well, what does that mean? Does that have any meaning, or is it just? I don't believe in coincidence ever. So, but it can make your day. Now it's too easy to say, oh, that's neat, and close the door and forget about it. If you're a storyteller, you look at that and you say, oh, wow, okay, so here's a woodpecker. There's a woodpecker way over there. Does that mean
Connect.
anything? Yeah, just play with it a little. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I was once doing a ritual of kind of doing like a closure ritual with the fire and a full moon with the eclipse.
Yep.
It was a bit too strong. I just don't do it. But I was like, okay, this to be today. And after I finished with the whole ritual, I went back to my house. And then I got an initiation, a very weird initiation. I got a stick, like a piece of wood on my ankle,
Oh.
which was painful. But I think if I for me it was more like in my masculine. So I
Mm.
was more like really like for 2 months I was working on my masculine and being more relaxed and still because I always demand so much from myself. So the gift, the ritual actually of doing a closure was more like okay, now you take it easy and start exploring your finding this balance between your feminine and your
Mm-hmm.
masculine in a more relaxed way. So I was 2 months
Yep.
working with it. And you can think, oh, that's very, yeah, it was painful,
Yep.
but at the same time was the way for me to go in that journey. So it's very interesting how things move in our lives. Sometimes
Yep.
some people have an accident and then that changed their lives and they realize what's really important. Or some of me even get close and they actually to death and say that okay, I'm gonna die. So now I want to connect with my real purpose and I don't know. Every experience in life is like initiation in a way. Like when there are big events that
Mm-hmm.
change things for us. They can sometimes they're pleasurable, sometimes painful, sometimes
Yes.
challenging, sometimes easy, and
Yep.
of course they bring gifts, and that's also nice because sometimes we the how do you say the shade or the dark. If we put light on the dark, then we will find something beautiful.
Yes.
Like it's like the lotus, no, that comes from the how do you call the pond and there's dirty water.
Oh. Okay.
The lotus flower grows from something
Yes.
that is
Yes.
so it's if we give light to our dark areas then we can see all of ourselves are integrated and flower from that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like these stories of African tribe when
Yep.
someone makes do something that like crime or steals or something, and instead of punishing them, they all gather around that person and sing their
Mm.
song and tell beautiful things about it. So they remember who they are.
Wow.
And then I think that's beautiful because
That is.
there is no bad person. I mean, we are all, how do you say, in this society and in this planet and in this all of that we have created also what is natural and also what we have created. And some people have more a role than others, so it's good to bring light to the shadow as well. Like
That is a beautiful way to go about things. And I think those are the things we have to remember and start using again. We've become so judgmental as cultures, too many of us, and so mechanized and so unfeeling. We've moved up here too
mm,
much. Our brains are important, but our hearts are just as important. And I
yeah,
think that's what storytelling taps.
it's what you say. Just to see this woodpecker, it's like, and then
Yeah,
really
yeah,
see it. It's not like
yep.
oh woodpecker, click done,
Hmm.
seen. No, it goes
Whoop. Oh, okay.
It's like take it in, no? And that's very good. Like really take in the air
Yep.
we breathe, the water we drink, and of course, it's a work of every day to slow down because everything is going so fast.
Yeah.
So that's why also
Yes.
storytelling you bring it like a real refugee for reconnecting.
Yeah, and just you just take a little time and you breathe and just feel, and you don't rush. You know,
Mm,
you never rush a story. You just let it evolve.
yeah.
Even here, as we sat here, Veronica, and I'm
Mm,
remembering the story of the wolves into the whales, and you turn around and there's whale right on the wall. So all the connections are there. We just have to take a minute and let them appear.
mm. It's like when we were meeting once, and then they talk about the white lion, and then my white cat jumped on the
Yeah, that's right.
opened the window
That
and
was.
jumped in front of the computer. I was like,
Uh
oh,
huh.
it's very easy to. They all want to be part, we're all
Yep.
elements together. Mm.
I think he had delusions of grandeur, but he was there.
Yeah, yeah, I was like, he thinks big of
That's
himself.
funny.
That's my good.
Yeah. Well, I think we did
Well,
pretty
so
well for a first one.
yeah.
So, yeah, we just invite everybody. We'll post this up so people can see it. What else, Veronica? What else do we have to?
So we can
Excuse me.
maybe close by saying welcome to join us, to join the lodge, to nurture the fire with your stories and stories of your family and your ancestors, your community. And all ages are welcome, and welcome to share them also, to bring them to kids or bring them to youth, to the elders. Yeah. This is a place for all of us
Hmm.
to to get nurtured.
Yeah, very good. And I likewise invite you, and I would say, just jump in and try it. Um, See how it feels. We've talked about how we met, and it's around storytelling and other efforts like that. And I have somebody who I feel like is family because of that. And that's happened many times. And it's a great way to really connect with more than a picture on a piece of paper.
Mm.
So join us. Welcome you
Yeah,
all.
join.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We meet we meet soon again.
We will.
With
Yep.
story.
We'll definitely be here next week. And